Hello, and today we're going to deep dive into Dkayed to see whether or not we can expose him as either a hero or a villain. And what do I mean by that? Well, Dkayed has been, if you don't know who he is, he's one of the biggest Master Duel Yu-Gi-Oh streamers there are, probably Yu-Gi-Oh streamers in general, big on Duel Links. And it all started with this very first incident. We're going to go into it. This is going to be a deep dive. I want to jump right in because we've got a lot to talk about. If we truly want to go in depth on this subject, I won't leave no stone unturned, and this is going to be a great one. Take a look at this. This is all where I want to say the biggest drama started and the first drama incident in Dkayed ever. When Master Duel first came out, the Yu-Gi-Oh, the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh simulation, finally an official simulator for Yu-Gi-Oh came out, Dkayed created the subreddit r Master Duel. Look at that. And some other members of the Yu-Gi-Oh community created r Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel. And why is that? Well, because Dkayed made the r Master Duel name, and here's what's interesting. They both created these subreddits on the same day. Now, if you don't know who Neon Rider is a moderator of many big communities, including r Yu-Gi-Oh, which I'm a part of. I wanted to also disclose that to just so maybe if I have any bias or anything. But let me know in the comments below if I do end up being biased by the end of this. I'm trying to be very neutral and objective here. Take a look at this. Dkayed created Master Duel meta, and the conflict of interest, why this competing subreddit was made, was they said that, you know, Dkayed might be biased because he also owns a website called Master Duel Meta. He also owned a Duel Links meta, which they said now there's like a conflict of interest for him to be the owner of this subreddit while still owning Master Duel Meta. And they may or may not have a point. So to do that, let's look into Master Duel Meta and see what that provides. Here's a snippet of Master Duel Meta. If I'm gonna be right up front, blunt with you, great website, absolutely amazing. It does have ads, but they regulatory look. They auto mute themselves and they go into the corner. It's a free website and a great resource. You could pretty much you can get stats, deck guides, a lot of good stuff. I use it all the time, so I'm not gonna be right here saying that it's a bad website. It's actually one of the best websites, especially regarding Yu-Gi-Oh resources that is out there in general. His websites are amazing, so I have nothing but almost good things to say about it. Now, there is a little conflict or a little bit of problems with the website. Like I said, the ads are, like I said, on PC, pretty minimum. The only problem is, I will have to say, if you're on mobile, take a look at this. These websites here are pretty intrusive. Look at this. So I took these screenshots here, like within a minute of each other. Look at this. This is an ad on top of an ad. And I didn't get it, but I tried to create like a simulation of it. Sometimes you get these really intrusive ads that they start taking over. They're like these interactive ads, and they take over the whole screen. Like, oh, come on, man, I'm just trying to read the card, and it'll look something like this. It like takes over the whole screen. Now, studies have shown that those ads are actually more effective, those interactive ads. Now, I don't really know if an ad like that is really effective or not. You tell me. Let me know in the comments below. But whether or not an ad like that is effective or not, that's what's really interesting. By the way, this isn't a paid ad. I'm not paid by Sprite. I think I was making just a little joke there on how the interactive ads. But very interesting. But besides that minimal intrusion, the Dkayed's website is really good. I want to say I give that website I'm being honest, probably a 9 out of 10. Those intrusive ads, yes, they get annoying, but again, it's free. I think you can pay to get rid of them, maybe, if you wanted to. He's got something like that. I don't really fully know the full details of that membership, but in any event, I still give his website a 9 out of 10. And going back to the original proposition of, is Dkayed biased for owning the Master Duel website and the Master Duel subreddit? On paper, it's yes, but in theory, no. So he's had this subreddit for 3 years. I haven't seen him post anything that was a conflict of interest, really. We'll deep dive into more stuff on that. But honestly, the Master Duel subreddit is just flooded with either like these memes or just people complaining about what's meta right now or what's hot or not. So honestly, I'll give credit where credit is due. That website is very, very good, very well made. So as far as you know, trying to remain neutral there, I think he does a decent job at it. And in the website, I have to give him, if I have to say hero villain, so far I give him the hero status. That website's amazing, right? So let's move on to the next thing though, right? Because there's so much we have to talk about here. And here's another thing that people are maybe up in arms of: the weekly leaks drama. What is that? What is the weekly leaks? Well, look at this. Konami themselves banned him. Look at this. Dear Robert Tanny, that's his name. It's come to the attention of the KDE penalty. You posted spoiler information on unreleased products on the internet. Based upon this, they are suspending him. And what they're doing is they suspended him. As of this, you can't play in these organized play until for 3 years. 3 years, he was suspended by KDE. Now, what's that mean? And what is Dkayed's response to that? Well, his response is this. He's literally live. Literally live. He doesn't care. He's still leaking stuff. Educated guesses, he likes to call them. And what do we think about that? Well, here's the thing, right? Some people don't like to be spoiled, and it does, like, especially like oh man, maybe I don't want to be spoiled or not. And sometimes I do watch the spoilers myself, but even if I don't want to spoil and I don't want to know what's coming, if I even just go on, I have my own little Discord too, you can check it out. If you go on the Discord, it's going to be everywhere. If you just go on Twitter, it's going to be everywhere. The leaks are going to be everywhere. I turn on News Channel 5, and they're like, oh, Ashen is coming. Ashen is coming. Ashen is coming. DK said Ashen. So, like, no matter where I go, I can't even try to avoid it. So you could, you know, some people will say, well, if you don't want to watch the spoilers, don't go. Well, no matter what, like, unless I literally live under a rock like Patrick, I'm going to get spoiled. And what do I have to say about that? Again, it's a give and take. And sometimes I watch the spoilers myself. So, yeah, that's kind of a bummer, getting spoiled every once in a while if I don't want to be spoiled. But for the most part, I grew to accept it, and I'm okay with it, honestly. But are you okay with it? I don't know. But you know, it's a hard one. It really is. Because again, sometimes that's just up to personal choice whether he's a hero or villain on that one. Some might say he is a hero because, you know, he's given us early warning and letting us know what's coming early. So that one I'll leave up to you guys. But here's some things. People, the guides drama. Look at this. People don't like his guides for whatever reason. They say he's got bad takes, and your first mistake's doing anything, like reading anything that Dkayed says. His guides are whack. Whatever, is he ruining Master Duel because he's posting these like stun deck guides and now everybody's gonna follow him and stuff like that. But on the flip side, there are people that praise his guides. You know, he's solo carrying Master Duel with his tournaments, Discord, Master Duel meta. Successful people always have haters. Appreciation posts here and there. Instrumental in getting me good at this game. And you could find an abundance of supporters that love. He actually explains his stuff. Now, I'm gonna tell you straight up, I watched a lot of his guides, and I want to say about 7 out of 10 of those guides are really, really good. The other 2 out of 10 are like, okay, they're good, and maybe like 1 out of 10 is like a bad guide. You know, like everyone has it. I have bad guides myself. Like it just happens. You know, sometimes you just have a bad day or something, you know, maybe it was a bad guide. It happens to everyone. But for the most part, most of his guides, I think, are good. And as far as his guides are concerned, he gets the hero status, no doubt in my mind. Like I said, everyone's human. He makes mistakes every once in a while. I think he's made an error a couple of times in a couple of his guides. I don't hold that against him at all. I make mistakes all the time. So it happens. So it's just part of it. It comes with the territory. But what is really good is, I think, not only is he good at guides, but if you watch him live too, when he's in person just talking live, he is very knowledgeable. extremely knowledgeable, instant hero status when it comes to that, because he knows his stuff. Again, 7 out of the 10 times you're gonna get really good information. 2 out of 10 times you're gonna get good information, and maybe 1 out of 10 times you're gonna might get something wrong. But for the most part, very good guides, very informative. If you're looking to be a better player, he is someone that I will recommend. I know some people don't want to hear that, but it's got to be said. You got to give credit where credit is due. So again, I'm trying to remain unbiased, and if to truly remain unbiased, you have to admit that Dkayed knows his stuff. But maybe where he might not know his stuff is this: the legally cheat drama. Now, what is that? What's the legally cheat drama? If some people don't know about that, I need to explain one card first. And it all started with this card right here, the Fateful Adventure. He was explaining, he was doing a stream, and again, this happened live, and so it was off the cuff of his head. Again, so it wasn't something that was like really planned, you know. And the legally cheat, he was using it as a like a clickbait kind of like headline grabber. So I don't really care about the words legally cheat. It's how he explained it though. And let's go into Fateful Adventure. Really, all you need to know is that it does 2 things. It can add a card from during your main phase, right? You could just have it. It's a continuous spell. You could just add a card that mentions an adventure token from your deck to your hand. And normally you want to get this Omni Negate card called Griffin Rider. Don't worry about that. I'm just going to make it very simple. You want to get a really good card from this first effect here. You want to get a, right here, this effect. You're going to get a really good card. And the second effect, you're going to get an equip card, which is like, man, okay, like kind of whack card, right? You don't really care for that. You really want to get this card. And the second effect only happens if a card is normal summoned. So what he said was, and this was on Master Duel too, you could summon a card in Master Duel, but choose not to activate this effect, and then immediately activate this effect right here. So, because it'll give you the prompt if you want to activate that, just say no, and then immediately activate this effect on Master Duel. And what's going to happen is the opponent will see a prompt, and it's like, they'll think that you just normal summon something, and they'll be like, oh, he's activating this effect. He's going to get an equip spell. So when it's like, do you want to Ash this, right? Do you want to use Ash Blossom and Joy Spring to prevent a card from being added? They think that they're just getting the equip spell, when in reality, they're actually getting the good Griffin Rider, the Omni Negate card. So it was a very deceptive use of, again, he used legally cheating, which actually might be a good word for it at the end of the day, you know, because that's something that the software allowed you to do. Well, here's what came of that, actually. Master Duel, since that, implemented a system. I don't know, I think this is credited to Dkayed because he brought that whole thing up. Now when you activate an effect, it highlights the effect you are adding, right? And so I personally think Master Duel did that because of the whole Adventure Engine legally cheat thing. Where some people got up in arms was, he also said that you could kind of do it in person, right? He said that you could, and I might be completely misquoting what he's saying, so I'm very loosely paraphrasing. This was also the same thing. You play it the same way. You play a monster, and then you say, I'm activating the effect. So, again, very loosely, this might not be his exact words if I'm misquoting Dkayed on that. Don't quote me to this, but it's like same thing. You summon the monster, and then it's like, you know, you're like, are you going to stop me or something? And then you pick up and you bring out and you add the Griffin Rider, and it's basically the same thing. And he's saying, hey, you can legally cheat that way too, and that's where a lot of people got up in arms, because it's like, hey, you're being deceptive on purpose and all of this, boop bop, and it's like, that's a tough one. Yeah, I think that's kind of villainous. You know, that is a little villainous. You might get a little villainous status for that one. But again, I can't call him a villain then which I'm doing without calling myself a villain, because I myself I've quoted videos where I'm like where I say Nibiru, how I act when I have a Nibiru, whether or not I have a Nibiru. After 5 summons, regardless, I get a little jumpy, you know what I'm saying? I might start counting cards or being a little extra over the top, because I am over the top sometimes. But so I do that too. I've been guilty of that myself. And then even in Master Duel, I might not even have Nibiru. I hold my interaction on off, and then after the 5th summon in Master Duel, I'll turn my interactions on if I have like an imperm or something, and like hold it for a while to make them think I have Nibiru. Am I kind of like doing the same thing? You know what I'm saying? So I myself have done tactics that Dkayed might have also, you know what I'm saying? Like legally cheat myself than I've done myself. So I can't fully call him a villain, without blaming myself. So I'll give him the villain status on that one, because I was kind of deceptive and villainous. But I don't think the majority of the community will agree. But I myself too, then in very similar factions. So, you know, hate it or love it, the underdog's on top. You know what I'm saying? As Lloyd Banks would say, that's an old song. Anyways, what else do we got here? The untapped GG tournament drama. Here's something else that happened. Now, I tried finding the best way to explain this. This is very interesting. So there was a tournament that happened, and people were up in arms because the Master Duel meta website revealed all of the tournaments, all of the people that were playing in the tournament, their deck list. Now, I feel like the Guardians of the Galaxy meme where I'm like, okay, I know that sounds bad, but he had a reason for it. But first, let's take a look at this. This was something I found on Reddit that was trying to explain it as best as they can, but it was from a very biased point of view, like a very someone that didn't like Dkayed's point of view. So I put this little snake here to, you know, emphasize it as someone who's saying this that doesn't like Dkayed, right? Again, I couldn't find the original source because it was like deleted or something like that. But the person who said that said, you know, as you know, I'm gonna read it like a snake. Dkayed is a popular content creator for Duel Links Master Duel. Recently, he meddled with the competition in the World Championship using a third-party duel to grab replay deck lists and publish them immediately on his fairly popular website. He does not respect the competition by destroying the secrecy of deck lists, which were public information. Apparently, he just wants to cause drama to get more attention and drive traffic to his website, so he can earn more from ad revenue and so on. Obviously, Dkayed and his team are too dumb to make a deck trapper app themselves, so they had to use one that was made by someone else. It is bad that Dkayed keeps posing as the good guy, and the first one who judges over who's good or bad. Besides me, hundreds of thousands. All right, so anyways, the first part basically described it. You could read the rest if you want. But because, again, this was from a very biased point of view, I'm trying to remain unbiased. But I did like it because it did kind of give a good early first impression of what the story was about, how Dkayed was posting stuff. And again, I know it sounds bad, but the plot thickens because Untapped GG, the sponsors of the tournament, posted this. They had an app, which was a companion app, and their app, if you used it a certain way, you could also see the deck list from that app. So basically, Dkayed was trying to, you know, level the playing field a little bit and just say, hey, your app is revealing sensitive information that people have access to. So I'm just going to release this so everyone has a fair footing. Look, Untapped GG says, look, using the companion to see deck lists that would be otherwise hidden is unintended and goes against our philosophy. For the purpose of the tool, we have fixed this issue in the most recent update. So Untapped GG admitted that, oh shoot, our app was making a mistake here. They even came out with a bigger statement. This week, and it came to our attention, players were able to use the Untapped GG companion to view deck lists in ways we did not intend. goes against our thing. We hotfixed it immediately, blah, blah, blah. We regret the impact. Our goal is to make everyone have a good time, and so on and so forth. So what's really interesting is, you know, on the one hand, again, this was like I believe one of the champions were sponsored by the Untapped GG, or the tournament was sponsored by. In any event, their companion app was already unintentionally leaking the deck list. So DK's reasoning was, hey, I'm just leveling the playing field. And again, you could see the other guys are saying, was he really leveling the playing field, or did he just want the ad revenue, right? And so at the end of the day, weighing it, I think it's like a lot like Thanos, you know what I'm saying? Where like, oh, there's this overpopulation problem, right? And Thanos decided, and like, you know, you're like, oh yeah, you know, we are heading towards overpopulation. And Thanos was like, I know what I'll do. I'm gonna eliminate half the population. We're like, whoa, 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 you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that, right? So the same thing, Dkayd's like, hey, there's some suspicious activity going on. I'm gonna leak all the deck lists. Like, whoa, whoa, maybe you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that, right? So maybe he went a little bit too far, right? But he went like far away that's like, it's like villainous, but it's like, you know, you could kind of understand why he did it, you know, like, okay, all right, maybe. Like some kind of Lex Luthor thing, like, you know, keeping Superman in check, you know, like, but like at the end of the day, it's a little villainous, that one. So, but let's keep going, right? Because you know, let's take everything together. I wanted to say, is he a hero or is he a villain, right? In the Yu-Gi-Oh community. And honestly, he is an anti-hero. This is how you know, you either love to hate him or you hate to love him kind of guy. Again, very knowledgeable. He's like, if I had to consider him to a person, he's like a Vegeta or a Deadpool. You know what I'm saying? The anti-hero. And just so you know, DK, Vegeta is my favorite Dragon Ball Z character. You know, he's the anti-hero. He does some bad things every once in a while, but like he might have a good reason behind it, or he might do, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's human. It's very, very interesting. And honestly, and maybe people might say, hey, Jesse, that's a cop-out, right? You get be straightforward, right? If I had to choose, if someone was like holding me against my will and was like, choose now, right? And I already know what people are gonna say, right? But if I had to choose between the two of them, right, I would say he's a hero. He is ultimately a good guy. I think, you know, at the heart, at the end of the day, right, he does some human stuff here and there, right? The legally cheat thing, I don't think he really meant for that to blow up as it did. Remember, it was like live, off the cuffs. Putting all of that aside, I think I would put him in the hero status. His website is very good. He's knowledgeable. If I were to weigh, you know what I'm saying, the good against the bad, the good heavily outweighs, I think, like the villainous things that he may or may have done. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, even the Untapped GG thing, there could be some justification. You could see it there. That was the only thing I really could see. Maybe he was like a Thanos kind of villain where like you could understand it. And I know what people are going to say. They're going to say, oh, Jesse, oh, he's Tarzan. You're swinging on his nuts like Tarzan, right? I'm saying this, but look, the guy knows his stuff, and he's a good guy. So at the end of the day, I think he's one of the best content creators for Yu-Gi-Oh! Out there, because he knows his stuff. I watch him all the time. I do want to state my biases, right? So I try to remain neutral, but I do want to disclose I do watch his stuff all the time. But again, I was also part of the other subreddits too, so maybe I was a little shaky. Again, I don't think he abuses his position, so I again, hero. Anyways, if you want to see more stuff like this, come check us out in our Discord. Like and subscribe. If you want to see stats and statistics, that's my specialty. I love to deep dive into stats and statistics. I love to really get in the nitty-gritty of that stuff. Come check out my videos if you want to learn more deep dive in stats and statistics. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Hope you guys have happy holidays too, by the way.